right, well, welcome friends. Thanks for joining today. And I've got this recorded so that people that have asked for the recording because they couldn't make it at this time frame, I can send it to them. So I'm really excited about that. So are you ready to discover the root cause of your health issue? So finally get some answers, have some clarity on what to do, have energy to be able to do it. So you can live in peace, knowing you're headed in the right direction, getting back the health you want that you so richly deserve. And so a lot of times, we go, well, what's going on with my health? Why have I fallen off the cliff all of a sudden? And so we would want it. There's a way of answering those questions, and it's learning how to dialogue with your body and to understand what it's telling you and to know, actually, unfortunately, how to listen, because sometimes we don't listen good enough what's going on. So I wanted to give you an example of kind of what my work does. So if you think about if you're in a house and all of a sudden you get struck by lightning and you're like, whoa, and so it blows the breaker, all electricity goes out. And so you run out into the yard and you're like, oh, wow, I'm not sure what happened. It was huge. Is the house okay? And you're looking around, there's no smoke. And so you're like, I think we're going to be okay. So you go back into the house and you realize, the power is out. So you have to go out to the garage and you have to flick that breaker panel and to get it to go back on so that electricity comes on in the house. So when you do that, sure enough, lights come on, everything's back to normal. And you're like, oh, thank goodness we're okay, and kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Well, so then a couple of hours later, you get ready to go start dinner and you turn on the electric stove and you're like, hey, something's not working. The stove isn't working. And so you're like, well, that's kind of odd. So you go back out to the panel in the garage and you check it. And sure enough, that particular part of the breaker box is no longer working. It's like too jiggly. If you've ever tried that before. And what you realize is that breaker has been more than just sprung. It's actually broken, or something has to be taken care of. And so you actually have to have someone come out and fix it. Well, a lot of times that's what happens in our own body. We experience different things that are like lightning strikes. They could be simple or they could be big. They could be things like, getting some dental anesthesia. It could be being, some kind of a trauma that you've had. It could be, small, like getting a ticket, or it could be something big where you are getting, sued, or you had, a bad phone call with someone or someone in your family. And so there's, I'm sorry, I got some of that in here. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Sarah. Got knocked off. Okay. So sorry, Sarah, you got knocked off. I got you put back on again. Okay. So what happens is your body kind of gets knocked offline. And so you're not able to work function. Okay. Well, and so, like I said, I was saying there's big things and small things. I mean, anesthesia, surgeries, it could be, a car wreck. It could be, a negative phone call, something you're having to deal with, some trauma in your life. So there's all different things that sometimes can be that lightning strike in our body that we don't realize is actually impacting the way our body functions. And it's not allowing it to be completely connected and communicating and functioning the way it needs to be. And so what I do is I'm using muscle testing to find out from the body what that is, what lightning strikes you've had that have disrupted the body's ability to do what it needs to do. Whether that's made it more sensitive to, let's say, different toxins in our environment, like something we're eating or something we smell, or maybe even something we put on our skin or bites. Or it could be something where it's just, we seem to like always be coming down with a cold or not feeling well, or our digestion doesn't work, or we get lots of headaches. And so we're finding out, what is it that has disrupted our body like that lightning strike that's not allowing it to function well. So I want to give you other examples of what that's kind of called our electrical system, or our energy field is what we call it. So there's other things that we are maybe familiar with that also work with this energy system of our body. And those are things like the EKG. Okay, so the EKG is a method to record the electrical activity of the heart through sensors. Another one that we're familiar with is a lie detector test. And that measures the involuntary physiological changes in a person's body as in response to a question or a statement. And so you think about when you're hooked up to a lie detector test, maybe your heart races, maybe you perspire, maybe you're fidgety, okay? And so all those things are registered when you're doing a lie detector test. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing a muscle. So I'm testing a muscle to see how it responds when I ask you those same kind of questions like a lie detector test. And so that is called applied kinesiology or muscle testing. And it was created by Roger Callahan of Thought Field Therapy, or TFT. So the definition of muscle testing is a diagnostic method that assesses the strength of a person's muscle and the functional balance of the body. It is based on the principle that the body is a neural feedback mechanism, like the EKG or the lie detector test that we just talked about, that allows it to communicate information about its functional status through changes in muscle strength. Okay, and so some people are aware of what muscle testing is and some aren't. So I'm going to just explain a little bit about what it is. So the practitioner would apply a gentle resistance to a specific muscle group, such as an arm or a finger. And that person being tested then tries to counteract the muscle against which it's being resisted. The practitioner assesses the strength of the muscle contraction and evaluates whether the muscle remains strong or weak when a certain physical or mental stressor is introduced or discussed. The result of the muscle test are used to identify imbalances or weaknesses in the body's structural, chemical, or emotional system. Okay, so there's lots of different things we can test for it. So an example of that would be is I use this muscle here, okay? And so it's really testing this knuckle, okay? And so I push down on from my second finger on top of that. So I push down on that and that's my muscle. So if something is weak, it's going to collapse. But if it's strong, it's going to remain very strong. There are many other ways to muscle test, and everybody has their kind of like their thing that they like. An easy one is an O-ring test. So you're kind of pulling against each other's fingers, and if it's strong, it's going to be held together. If it's weak, it will come apart. Another one that is kind of hard to demonstrate, but it's like if you have a flat surface and then you ask it, I want a certain question, and you are lifting the wrist to see how high that wrist will come. And then if it's not strong, then it won't come up as much as the right angle. So you're looking at what the angle is. You can also do that with a finger, same idea. How high is that finger coming out versus not. So there's lots of different ways. Some people use, like their arm out and they test, with their thumb out like this. So there's, like I said, there's many different ways. It's kind of just finding one that kind of resonates with what works for you. And that just takes some practice. So what that's based on, and let's see if I can, I've got a picture up here that I want to show you. Let's see here. Okay, screen share. There we go. There we go. I think it will do this way. Okay. Okay, so this should, hopefully you're seeing a picture of the Earth. So this is an example of how the Earth has its same polarity. Okay, so we have a positive off the top of the head, and we have a negative off the feet. Or I'm sorry, I always get ahead of myself. I always get kind of excited. So the Earth itself has a polarity system. Okay, and so you have the one pole has a positive and a negative, other side of the pole has a negative. Now, just recently, we saw a bunch of the northern lights come almost down into like Oklahoma and maybe down in that part of the US, which you usually don't get to see at all. But what that is that the electrical charges are in the air because it's coming down farther off the poles. So that's an example of being able to see the electrical system that surrounds the Earth. So what I was trying to say is that our bodies have that same kind of polarity. So we have a polarity of a positive on the top of our head and a negative on our feet. And so when we muscle test, a lot of times we can test people by seeing how strong they are with the arm. You've probably seen that if you've seen muscle testing. But our hand also has a positive here and a negative here. So if I put my hand on top of my head, I'm connecting a negative with the positive, and I will test strong. If I flip it over, just like any kind of, like magnetics you try to put together, and if they don't work, you can't get them together. But if it's the right polarity, positive and negative, they will connect. So if you do this and you're putting a positive next to a positive, you will test weak. So it's hard to demonstrate, obviously, on a Zoom call, but there's lots of videos out there that might show you how that is demonstrated. So it's based on, kind of the Earth's polarity like that. That's why I wanted to show that video or that picture. Okay. So there are several modalities. Let me see if I can get off of this now. All right. There are several modalities that do this kind of, use this kind of energy testing or muscle testing, applied kinesiology or tapping into that energy field in order to do their modality. So one of them is tapping or EFT, and that was created by Gary Craig. And so you may have, we're kind of a sister, quantum techniques that with the modality I do is kind of a sister to or a cousin to the EFT. But you basically say a statement of either something you're trying to get over, like, even though I'm feeling like a failure, I deeply love and accept myself. Or even though I have this headache, I deeply love and accept myself. And so you do a statement where you're just saying, I deeply love and accept myself, even though I have this headache. Even though I have a headache, I deeply love and accept myself. And then as you do that, then you start tapping on these meridian points. Now, meridian points are just points where a bunch of nerves are closest to the skin that head to a particular organ. So the meridian right here is going to be the stomach, okay? And they've just found by tapping on some of these points that the body is able to reconnect or be able to readjust that particular issue in the body, okay? So whatever the headache or whatever that belief of being a failure and how it's stuck in the body will start resolving itself. And so whatever you're dealing with will start decreasing in the intensity. Okay, just want to make sure that I kind of covered that. Okay, so tapping on the acupressure points that are located on meridians that lead to organs in the body that can be involved in the disruption of the body not being in balance and causing health symptoms. Okay, so the modality that I do is called quantum techniques, and we're using quantum physics, being able to move in space and time to find out what's going on with the body and why you have a symptom. Okay, this was created by Dr. Stephen Daniel, and he's a Christian psychologist that wanted to find a quicker way for his patients to heal from their environmental and physical issues. And I personally have known Steve Daniel since I was like 13 years old, so we are good friends. So I'm going to give you a definition of what energy medicine is, because quantum techniques is a form of energy medicine, just like EFT, Donna Eden, some of those other modalities that you may have heard of. So this is a term that used in alternative medicine and spirituality to describe the idea that a human body can be healed through the manipulation of energy fields, also known as quantum fields. This concept is based on the idea that everything in the universe, including human beings, is composed of energy. And then by changing the energy fields within the body, one can change the physical reality of the body and cure disease or conditions. This can be achieved through various means, such as meridians, visualization, affirmations, and energy work, such as Reiki or acupressure. The power of intention and belief can play a significant role in the healing process. So an example of that is if you are angry at something, then you're not going to be able to be in a very healing state because you're going to be very angry. So that's just one of the things that sometimes can disrupt our energy is having, some beliefs or emotions that are getting in the way. So Sarah's asking, says, do you have a chart for what tapping point meridians stands for under the eye? I do, but I have to look it up. I've never truly memorized exactly what those meridians are and which organs they go to, but I have a slide somewhere in my stuff that has that. So I would have to send you that. So you're welcome to put your email address in there and I can send it to you. So I probably should know it myself. All right. Okay. So that talks about I wonder if there's something here. No, this just talks about the different meridians. It doesn't give an example of what they are and what they're for. So how does this energy help you? Okay, that's kind of the next question I figured you might want to ask. Okay, I'm going to pull up a different slide here. Okay, and go back to share. Okay, so here's an example of Bruce Lipton, which discusses the biology of belief. He says that our environment has an impact on our DNA. Using epigenetics, the process by which the genetic information is translated into the substance and behavior of the body. So the idea that Bruce Lipton has, and he has two that I find that are very helpful. The first one is that, okay, if we have a problem, he says the reason being is that environment is starting to peel back the protective layers on our body and start revealing problems because it was created to be protected, but we have so many toxins and pathogens maybe in our environment that it's impacting it in a negative way. Okay, so that's what they call terrains, and our terrain around our bodies impact the way our health is. Okay, that is different than, let's say, germ theory, which says that that we need to protect against these particular germs and try to get almost like boost up the amount of like in this example, the fish, to make it like super fish so that it can, withstand everything. Well, they always keep creating new things, and so it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. So that's, if you hear a lot of times the difference between terrain change versus germ theory, that's what they're talking about. And that's what Bruce Lipton was talking about. So another way that is represented is that we have a, he says that with epigenetics, we have well, let me pull up, sorry, let me pull that up. These are back to back, so let's do it really quick here. Okay, so another theory that the way he explains it is that, okay, we have this double helix, okay, which is our DNA, okay? And what he's saying is that as we live life or come in contact with these toxins in our life, it kind of dings that DNA and starts pulling back that protective layer of those strands so that they get revealed. And so then the disease has a chance to express itself, okay? And so the intent of what we're doing with the healing work that I do is finding out what those toxins are that are bothering your system and get your body to not have such a propensity to deal with it or to be impacted by it. But we're also finding out what is your terrain that's bothering you and try to remove it so that you have a better way of dealing with that. And so obviously some things are easier than others. If you bought a new rug and the rug has a lot of chemicals in it, it needs to outgas. It's a matter of like saying, hey, take it outside, put it in the sunshine. Maybe it needs to be washed with some gentle soap. Maybe something you're putting on your body has a chemical in it that's really impacting you. So maybe you just need to change to a different lotion. And so we're just finding what is it that your body and everything that you have come in contact with during your lifetime is making you have a propensity to be susceptible to that, and then find out if there's a way to mitigate that. All right, so let me just make sure I've kind of covered that part. So our environment, in a way, peels back the protective layer that gets the negative genes expressing themselves. Okay, so that's kind of where that double helix comes in. I'm going to change the picture here real quick and see if I can pull up the other one. Okay, so this is the other picture I want to pull up. So this is an example of how genes get expressed. Okay, so you think about the fact that you have symptoms in our life. Okay, we have heart attacks, rashes, anxiety, insomnia, hypertension, upset stomach like IBS, or we have headaches. Okay, those are all symptoms, right? And people call me all the time, and because I work over the phone around the world, and people say, okay, I have a headache today. What happened? Or my eyes are itchy, or I didn't sleep well last night, or I have a stomach ache. Those are the small things. Obviously, there's some big things too. And so, yes, I work on taking away those symptoms, but there's also an ability of saying, okay, well, why did your body express those symptoms? There's something that's filling your bucket. And that's why I like this example, because, okay, there is a bucket that gets filled. Well, how did it get filled? It could have gotten filled by heavy metals, pathogens, food toxins, stress, dental work, anesthesias, medications, surgeries. And those are all the things, if you remember, that are like the lightning strikes in our life, okay? Traumas, lack of exercise, bad nutrition, all of those are creating a lightning strike that then one starts adding up onto the other, and then we have a symptom that we need to solve. So what I'm doing is I'm solving those symptoms, but then also finding out what's in your bucket and trying to lower the threshold of your bucket. Okay, same thing as epigenetics that Dr. Lipton talks about, where we're trying to find out what are the environmental issues impacting you and try to minimize those, but also make the body not so sensitive to it. Okay, all right. So there's something here that I think is really good on this one, and it talks about, it's a quote about gene mutation, which is kind of what I was just talking about with Bruce Lipton. I like to read it because I think it's very important, but it's over here, so even though you're seeing on your main screen. So bear with me. It says gene mutations. All of us have gene mutation, multiple gene mutations. They could be MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. They get expressed when we have been exposed to toxins, lifestyles, foods, emotions, how you see the world, like traumas, radiation, anesthesias. All those are things that impact it. So what we do at Quantum Techniques is we prevent the expression of these genes in our clients. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're trying to stop that expression. Okay. All right. Let me stop the screen share. All right, great. So how do I get started in this? That's probably the next question. All right. So how I got started in this is my personal story. Okay, we all we all have a personal story, and it's how it defines us, kind of that same thing of what's our environment, what's in our bucket. So my personal story is that my symptom was that I was not able to get pregnant. We had tried for a year after, several years after we got married. And so I started on that long journey of doing IUI and even IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Through that process, we also used quantum techniques to minimize the symptoms that we were having from, let's say, the drugs, the anesthesias, the injectants, the weight gain, and of course, the huge emotional toll of going through something like not being able to get pregnant. So we were able to discover through the process and through the muscle testing and finding out what was happening is that I would lose the egg to not being able to on the 26th day, of the cycle. And what would happen is on that day is what FSH gets released and starts to increase in the body in order to start the next cycle. Well, through muscle testing, we found that I had ingested a supplement called Wild Yam 6 years earlier that I'd used as like a birth control method for only 90 days. And that caused the uterus to be coated with the wild yam, chemical or substance that was not allowing the egg to attach and to stop the SFH hormone from processing to create the next cycle to start. So the menstruation cycle to start and to be released and then released in the old uterus. Okay, so it's almost like it was starting the process and I was wanting it to stop the process. And it would just, the wild yam there was not allowing that that communication to happen. So when we identified to the body what the problem was, and we asked it to rid itself of the wild yam, I got pregnant within 5 months. And so now I have a wonderful, teenage son. And so because that was such a powerful healing in my own life after we'd gone through everything, and to find out, what simple thing it was just getting rid of this substance that was in the body causing the issue, I really wanted to share this modality with more people. And so that's how I got started as a practitioner of doing this kind of method and helping people find out their own why they're having a health issue and so what they could do about it. And so that's why I say I help people find that root cause. What is it that's not allowing this to happen? And it could be, like I said, based on anything. In other words, it's going to be teeth issues, it could be digestive issues, it could be sleep issues, just anything. But we find out what's going on, what's the root cause, so that you can get your health and happiness back. So that's kind of a summary of kind of how you take energy medicine using muscle testing to be able to dialogue with the body, finding out what the communication is to help the body start getting back into a healing state and to clear what it needs to clear. And so I work with people on the phone and new clients. I give you a $100 discount for being new clients and starting at this modality. And so it's $300 for doing a one-on-one session to work with me to find out kind of what your root cause is. And so we're able to have like a 60-minute session. We answer questions. I find out kind of what your client history is, what you want to deal with, what you've been dealing with, and we can find out, kind of get a good baseline of where you're at and what you need to do to start shifting your health back into health. So I'm offering that if you sign up by this Friday at 5 Central Time, you get $100 off. And so I can give you the link in order to basically sign up and fill out your client history and your information so that we can get that started and scheduled. And you don't have to schedule it this week. It's just a matter of turning in your paperwork so that we can get that scheduled. So that way it gives you a little time. So I don't know about you, but sometimes life goes really fast and trying to get it all done in 1 week is really tough. So all I'm saying is you just need to fill out the client request form. All right, so I'm going to pull that up here so that I can give you, I don't think this is the link. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'll continue to work on that link and getting that ready. This is the only link I didn't have, but I want to make sure I had all the links for doing the screen shares. All right. All right, now we're getting there. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is regenerative medicine. So in other words, there's lots of things that I have found make my work that I do more helpful. And so that's why I always want to offer that. Now, I always say, they can work alone by themselves. It's just almost like this supercharges it so that you can have that, but it can go even quicker. There you go. There's the link. All right. So the things that I have found to be very helpful in bridging the gap or doing that process that we're talking are two different products that I found to be profound. The first one is called ASEA, okay? And it's a liquid that you drink, and you can muscle test to see how much you need for your specific issue. And typically people start out with 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the afternoon or evening. And here's what it does. So if you have a cell, what happens with the cell is as you eat things or the process of your body, that cell needs to absorb the nutrients and absorb the hormones in order to function that cell. And then that's what happens in the mitochondria. So as the mitochondria knows what it needs to do from all those nutrients, it has stuff that it uses up, doesn't need anymore, and so it spits it out to get rid of it. And so the intent is it's supposed to leave the cell. But what happens if that cell doesn't have enough of the products it needs to be very oxygenated and have enough fluid to get rid of that? It gets stuck inside that cell and it won't get out. And so it's almost like it creates a diseased cell. And so then that's when it impacts your body and you don't feel well. Okay, so a lot of times we call that sludge die-off. It could be detox. There's lots of names for it, but it's basically where your body just kind of slows down and gets mucked. You think about this pond back here with me, you know, it doesn't have a lot of water flowing in it and out of it. So it could, if it's stagnant water, just like that cell, it won't do well. You need to have a good flow of in and out. So that's what ASEA does, is it helps lubricate those cells so that your body can flush out those toxins as it uses up. Now, a big word for that is autophagy. And so an autophagy. This is a hard one to say, but it is there. All right. So, okay. So Sarah's asking, please show ASEA again. Sorry, trying to get it right. So it's ASEA. All right. Now, ASEA has the liquid form and it also has a gel form. And I like both. This really helps the cells, and this one helps the skin, or it helps any process. I usually put this on the skin. Sometimes put it with DMSO to help if I have like a rash or something I need to work on. There's just lots of ways that you can use this product. And so the things that the ASEA works on there are 5 main categories. One is the immune system. One's the vascular system, one's the digestive system, and one's on hormones and inflammation. And so you're asking whether it works on fungus. Not directly, I would say. There are other products that we use alongside these that specifically go after fungal. In fact, I have 1, 2, 3, I have like 5 different products. If I get a fungal infection, I literally hit it with 5 different products. And I am on it to get rid of it out of the body because it's the fastest reproducing thing in the body is a fungal. So that's why it's important. And yes, I do put this on toes for fungal because that's a good way of dealing with it. So you put it on the toenail, and then you can also put then DMSO on the toenail so it penetrates that to get rid of the fungal. So yeah, that is an application of this. Another way is if sometimes people have like scaly skin or a fungal infection on their hands, and that's another way you can put this on there with DMSO, cover it with a Band-Aid, and helps. I'm working with this right now to help get rid of warts that I have. So that's something that can do. So yeah, very good product for that. And it's because it's in gel form, it doesn't go everywhere. So it's a very nice product to use for that. Okay, so again, ASEA works with the immune system, the vascular system, the digestive system, the hormonal system, and inflammation. All right, so that helps lubricate the cells, get those toxins out. And So you think about what we talked about before, that we all in life, we have that terrain around us that sometimes can have toxins in it and pathogens. And so if we have boosted up our ability to make our cells more fluid, then whenever we come in contact with, it will flow through and out. Okay, so it helps what I do and supports that. So there's another product that I have found to be very helpful, and this is called LifeWave patches. And I'm going to wear one right here. I don't have to wear it right at the beginning, but this is Nirvana, and it's a patch that uses it. It's almost like it's a mesh. I'll read what it is. It's a patch that uses a mesh that's a blend of organic materials and nanocrystals. This mesh is placed between two pieces of plastic that are the same kind of a sticky as like the 3M products on a sticky note. These nanocrystals are designed into 12 different ways. Hence, there's 12 different patches that this particular LifeWave sells. They are designed to reflect infrared light. So you think about how the sun comes down and our bodies respond by producing vitamin D. It's that same idea. You put this on your body and the infrared that our body produces activates that and gives back what that nanocrystals are. So this one is for calming. So it helps with dopamine, serotonin. So it helps calm and keep everything kind of flowing good. There are others. They said they have 12 different patches. One is for stem cells. So it helps your own stem cells in your body be able to be activated and start growing. Another one is, let's say, silent nights. If you're having a hard time sleeping, then you can wear this and help. Now, right now, at night, I've been wearing it right on my forehead because I've had a lot of what they call monkey mind, when you wake up and your mind's racing. Well, this helps calm that so that it's clearing out those toxins or pathogens that are impacting the brain and that area, causing you to wake up. Okay. And there's other places that we place it on those different pressure points or meridians in the body that sometimes are better for what you're dealing with. Okay, so your body heat gives off in the form of infrared light that hits these nanocrystals and help them activate. So these patches reflect the infrared light back into the skin and increase certain molecules. And it's like X39, the stem cell is activated, increases the molecules of GHK copper peptides. And this copper peptide is not new. We've known about it since 1970s, and they studied it in Harvard. So X39, isolates these, 4,192 genes. And so they're sequenced so that they can start helping your stem cells grow. So that's kind of an example of what's happening with the patches, so you can kind of see kind of what they are. So it's kind of the same thing. When you're wearing that, your body's being able to give it the energy or to give it the elements it needs to bridge the gap when you come in contact with the toxins or the pathogens in your environment. So it's almost supercharges what I do, because I find what's bothering you, but it gives you the ability to handle what you come in contact from between the times that you contact me and work with me, because you have something that you really want to solve. So that's kind of the concept. And that's why I like those two products. The other reason I like them is that they almost universally test well for everyone. And not every patch tests good for everybody for their specific issue that they have going on at the moment, but most of them test good for the people I work with. So I like the fact that I can find products that test universally. So I know that they're very good. So these products alone will help you get better. And I just, like I said, supercharge them to create a shift in your body to get you there quicker. So I've talked a lot about what this is, but there's a quote in the newest movie out called The Jesus Revolution that says that this is something to experience, not just to talk about. And I think that's the hardest part of what I do, is that I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but until you've experienced that energy shift, like we talked about at the beginning, and finding out, what is that clarity? I mean, going through a treatment, you get that clarity and you get that energy and you get that inner peace. And it's like, oh, but that's something that's really hard to express or talk about or share or feel unless you've had that experience. And so sometimes in life, there's just things that you have to experience, like in Yosemite Valley here, when you're standing underneath the falls and you're hearing that noise come down with all that water, it's like, oh, you're in God's country. And so that has to be experienced sometimes. And you can talk about it and look pictures and like that, but until you're there, sometimes it's really hard to just actually experience it. So sometimes, like I said, quantum techniques, it's hard to explain. It's something that needs to be experienced. So when you discover your root cause, then you finally have some answers. You get some clarity on what to do, have energy to do it, so you can live in peace, knowing you're headed in that right direction, getting back that health you want that you so richly deserve. So I wanted to, at this point, kind of open it up for questions in case you have questions of what were things we've talked about. So let me know if you can raise your hand if you have a question, or you can go off mute. See if we have any questions. Looks like I've answered a lot of yours. I'm going to write down the website for you, or your email, Sarah. So let me know if you guys have some questions that I can help answer if I need to make something a little bit clearer. And then if I remember, I remember what you wanted me to send you. Hey, Sarah. Yes, do you have a question? Let's see if I can put you off mute here.
There what other product? Hi.
Hello.
Thank you. Very nice. What other products do you recommend?
Are you specifically thinking for the fungal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's something called a thorn formula. Let's see. It's
Thorn is the manufacturer.
Yeah, I think that's the manufacturer, and it's a certain kind of acid. I'm awful at spelling, but I have it right here. So let me get it.
I know the spelling for thorn. It's with an E.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that you're going to get the right.
Right.
Yeah, thing here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Almost. Sorry about that. Let me see. Let's try again. Okay, here we go. I was very close the first time. Ta-da! Okay, it is called SF722. And this is what I wanted to spell for you. It's UNDECANOIC acid. And I can
can you put that in the chat?
I was going to put it in the chat. So. Gotta pull my keyboard out here.
Yeah.
So it's called Thorn Formula SF722, and it is UNDECANOIC. There we go.
Okay.
That helps with the fungal. Typically, I find if you have a big fungal infection, you take it morning and night. So one in the morning, one at night. Other things that I find helpful is grapefruit seed extract. But
Oh,
that doesn't test good for you.
it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Does the thorn?
Yeah, that one tests okay. Candex also tests good if you're looking for several. So there's a couple. Let me check some of the others that I use. There's intestinal tract defense and fungus fighter, and those are both by Herb Pharma. Do you want me to put that in the notes?
If I test okay for them.
Yeah. So it's Herb Farm, and so they're easier to get on. A lot of times you have to get them online to get both of these.
Right. How does the ASEA liquid test for me?
What is it?
ASEA liquid.
Okay. Okay, so that's the Herb Pharma one.
Thank you. That's good.
And for you, just kind of quickly testing, I get that 5 drops of each, but just once a day.
Okay. What do you mean of each?
So there's intestinal tract defense is one, and fungus fighter is another. They're like tinctures. And so you just put it in water and then take it. So it's 5 drops of each.
And what of the ASEA liquid?
Okay, so the ASEA liquid, it does test as a 10 of helpfulness. I'm actually getting 5 ounces would be good for you to start with.
5 ounces?
Uh-huh. And I can send you the paperwork on or information on how to order that.
I found it on Amazon.
And it's really bad to buy it on Amazon because we don't have an ability to know whether it's been tampered with. Yeah, they've found a lot of times people go in and they like create a hole in the bottom, drain the liquid, and then fill it with something else and then seal it back up again. And so you're not really getting the actual product.
Why would they do that?
Because it's a multi-level marketing product and they can make money by selling it cheap. And then I don't know why there's people like that in the world.
Would you send me the definitely the link?
Yeah,
I can find it.
Yeah, I can send you the link for signing up for that.
Does the DMSO, do I test for that?
Yeah, that tests okay.
And what about the ASEA gel for the skin?
Yeah, that tests good too.
Yeah, I need to learn how to test myself, so.
Yeah, and I have some videos on how to troubleshoot that, but the main website for Quantum Techniques has Truth Techniques, which
I just bought that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that really helps you learn how to muscle test and the different ways to kind of be more assured of yourself.
Yeah, I do like this test, but sometimes I don't,
Yeah. This one, there's so much involved because you have the arm and the shoulder. It kind of is hard for me, but I've done this one forever and it really
this one,
seems to work for me. And
I don't know how to read that, but I'll have to work on it.
The O-ring test, that one's pretty easy to learn.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you do EFT with your therapy too?
Not as much, but it's a good base if I need it. I have found that doing Quantum Techniques and EFT EFT is a little bit like walking uphill in ski boots compared to quantum techniques. So,
Which is like what?
really tough, or it's harder. It takes longer. It's harder to get to the goal. And
so it's more like skiing downhill or walking.
yes, yeah, it's a lot easier and it goes quicker. And I find that I can get the shift in my clients a lot quicker.
Are you giving a code out?
Good question. I hadn't thought of that.
No, I mean, when with your clients, are you giving a code out?
Oh yeah, after the end of my working with, I give you a specific code for what we worked on. Yes.
And some of those are EFT.
Yes, they're the same points. It's just, but it's for your issue.
Yes.
What you need. So it's like specific. Yeah.
Please, if you want, if you think of it, send me the info on, like you said, this was stomach.
Yeah, the stomach, I think, is here.
Oh, stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just read the other day what this is, and then of course I can't remember.
Yeah, it's hard to hold up that.
But I was taking a webinar once and they started showing the slides. And I'm like, oh, and so I'm like taking pictures of it. I just have to find where it is.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Well, good. I'd love you to sign up for a session so you can kind of experience how QT works and everything we've talked about. So you can really feel it and experience it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you joined us today.
I did. Thank you.
All right. So let me kind of wrap up today. So I appreciate everybody coming today. Like I said, I'm recording this because there's several people who have asked for it to be forwarded to them to take a look at. And so I just appreciate them wanting to listen in and find out, what the heck do I do? And it really is exciting work. And I think what's so exciting is that you can get your life back. And, what's been happening, you can kind of get some answers on like, hey, I get it. Now I understand what's happening. And you know what to do and what steps to take to start getting there. And it could be as simple as changing your laundry detergent, making sure you don't eat this particular food that for some reason is really causing an issue in your life. So it's just finding out exactly what it is that is creating that imbalance so we can get you back in balance. So that's the exciting part. So you can find me on, so if you sign up by this Friday at 5 p.m. and filling out the paperwork, then you get $100 discount on your first quantum technique session. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. So you have the link there. And then the other thing is that I also have a Facebook group, which is called Health Puzzle Academy. And so if you're on Facebook, you can join that group, and we share a lot more about, health information, videos that I have. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Jody Colegrove at Quantum Techniques. And I share a ton of information there and videos in regards to different health issues that you may have encountered and how quantum techniques can help with that. And it's just kind of amazing to learn that things can be simply taken care of. It's just a matter of knowing how to dialogue with the body and what's going on. So really learning how to listen. So I appreciate everybody being here today.
Jody, re-say the Facebook group.
Oh, sure. It's Health Puzzle Academy. And actually, yeah, I can actually send the link also here because I have that here. I don't have the link for the YouTube, but that's the link for the Facebook group. So Health Puzzle Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, you can click on that and then join the group.
And then your name for the YouTube.
Yes. Yeah, the YouTube. Let's see if I can. Everything's kind of hidden here. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Right. So there is the YouTube below that. So you have that link now too. Cool, got it to work. Sometimes you never know if technology is going to be happy with you or not. All right, I'm going to add it here too. All right, well, I appreciate everybody joining in today, and I'm looking forward to doing sessions with you to get your health and happiness back. So I hope you have a blessed rest of the week, and that it's a wonderful week and you get some peace and have a great one. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.